Hello, hello. Ladies and gentlemen, if everyone would please turn your heads to the head table. We're going to now have our speeches. Coming up first is the best man. Can I please have a huge round of applause for Johnny Minotas?
All right, now, it's been a while since I've done this in front of this group of people, so give me a minute, and I'm going to get there all the way. Ladies and gentlemen, so dudes, come on, so dudes, everybody up, so dudes. All right. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for coming to this beautiful event tonight, the joining of David and April. Can we give them a hand, please? I hear a little bit of hush-hush over there. We just need to take it down. Thank you. All right. Thank you so much for attending this beautiful evening, the joining of my brother and the lovely April. Can we give them a round of a hand? Fuck you, Wemos. And before we continue, can we give a round of a hand for the lovely ladies of the bridal party? Don't they look wonderful? Hashtag Dino Palmieri Salons. Before I start this off, I would like to remember two people that cannot be here tonight. If everybody could take a moment to please remember our grandfather Minotas, who passed away when my dad was 13, and my grandfather, who just passed away in the past January. So if we could all take a few moments to bow our heads and remember them. Thank you so much. You know, the thing about Dave, some of you may have heard this, some of you may have not. I never wanted Dave. I wanted that little baby sister that I could braid her hair and do all that kind of crazy stuff with. I could, but nah. But thankfully, I was sitting inside of the delivery room with my grandmother, Thomas, and my dad came out and said, "Hey, surprise, guess what? You've got a brother boy." And I just kind of sat there like this. You throwing him in the garbage yet, or what? But without Dave, I would not have had the fearful brother to go on roller coasters with, to go camping with, or to do all the things I knew I wasn't supposed to do, but Dave was around to make me do it. So starting with that, our grandfather Thomas used to babysit us until I was about 17. And I was an adult by then, but Dave still needed a little bit of guidance. And during those years, I have nothing but great memories of Dave being like, "Hey, yo, Johnny, we gonna lock Grandpa out of the bedroom?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure, Dave, whatever. I mean, Grandpa's watching us, but sure." And then it turned into the summertime when Grandpa would be watching us when he shouldn't have been, because he was like 14 and I was like 18. And, you know, it gave Grandpa something to do, so it was good. But Dave would be like, "Yo, bro, broski, let's go lock him out of the house just for shits and giggles." And we did it, and it was fun. Grandpa didn't like it, Mom didn't like it, Grandpa didn't like it, but, you know, Dave's a little trickster, and that started from the time Dave was little all the way up until his bachelor party, where he's still a trickster and likes to switch his room keys on everybody. You know, It's like 3 a.m., room keys are switched, nobody knows where they're going, but that's Dave. He likes to pull tricks on each other, and that's why we love him. But going back to something a little sentimental, Dave came to me when he was about 14 years old, and I was 18, and I made the choice to move out on my own against my parents' wishes, against my family wishes. And one day I answer my door, and there's Dave on his little, motorcycle. What was it? A moped, motocross, TMX bike, whatever it was. And it's still very debatable whether Dave rode from Middleburg to Berea by himself or whether Dave rode from Middleburg to Berea in Kathy's car with the bike in the back like this. Very debatable. Don't know the truth of it. I don't want to know the truth of it. But Dave knocked on my door and he said to me, "Johnny, will you please come home?" And that was the first touching moment where I felt the brother bond. Can you leave me hanging? All right, I guess you can leave me hanging. But that was the first adult bond that I had with my brother. And I could see in the sincerity in his eyes that he actually wanted me to come home. And we spent years of going back and forth and fighting and me pinning his elbows down and slapping him back and forth. And, he was my little brother. I made sure of that. Dave might have been a little devil, but the sincerity in his heart always came from somewhere deep within. When he asked me to come home, I was too big of a man to say yes. So I kept on going on my road by myself. But above anybody else, Dave was the one who was there to make sure I was doing okay, make sure I had food, and make sure that there was love inside of my house. And at the time, it didn't mean much to me. And as I grew up, it meant a hell of a lot more to me. There's a little piece inside of me that always remembers the old days of Dave's trickery. When we would lock Grandpa out, when we would send him into his van, and, all the trickery Dave has inside of his sleeve. I won't mention the trickery that he's got with his boys over here. Those are stories way too long to tell tonight, but this man is a fabulous man, and he has been my brother for 30 years, and as much as I wanted a sister, Touche. As much as I wanted a sister, I got a brother, and I wouldn't have it any other way. My vision's bad, so give me 1 second. Dave was always a little devil, and he was always a little trickster. But the best quality about Dave is that there's a sincerity in his heart that nobody else can match. And I saw that sincerity the day that I met April, the day that he graduated from his master's program. I was a little weary about meeting April, and, because I've got standards for my brother. I want to make sure that he's happy. Before I'm happy, this is my broski. I want to make sure that he's happy. And these two complement each other in more ways than I can even imagine. These two are there for each other just the way a married couple should be. I'm getting there. These two are avid Cavs fans. Can we get a hey up for 2016? Yeah! They are season pass holders for the Brownies, even though we suck. Can we get a woo-woo? Raise the money. The things that they share in common are just the beginning to a blossoming relationship and marriage of Dave and April. All right, so now I've got to read this because I couldn't remember it. I saw this, and the first thought in my mind was nothing but my brother and April, and I could not be more blessed than to share this with you guys. Marriage is a sacred bond between two imperfect people, which is made possible by a perfect God and held together with limitless love, unshakable faith, and undying devotion for each other. And that quote right there describes the love that my brother and April have. I have been through a lot of my family knows it, but the most important thing to me is that Dave and April have stood by my side from the get-go to the end, never judged me, and always supported me. I wish these two the best of love for the rest of the eternity. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Enjoy your evening.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Let's hear another huge round of applause for Johnny Minotas. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, up next we have the Matron of Honor, Amanda Pocken. Please, can we make some noise?
Good evening, everyone. As Jeff said, I'm Amanda, for those of you that do not know me, and I am married to April's brother, Ryan. I'd like to start off by thanking everyone for being here today to celebrate in such a joyous event. But more importantly, thank you for inviting us to share this day with you. Not shockingly, you guys have really outdone yourself. It's amazing. And speaking of amazing, I do want to say, April, I've really never seen you look more beautiful than you have today. While preparing for this speech, one verse did pop in my head, and that's Proverbs 31:25. She is clothed in strength and dignity. The reason being, anyone who knows April knows that she's a strong, successful, independent woman who, from the day I met her 12 years ago, she has always exuded self-understanding and self-loyalty. But above all that, April is a passionate woman who, once she commits to something, she's all in. This is evident by her long life of dance, her overwhelming academic achievements, and her unwavering stance on Cleveland sports teams, which, I might add, probably contributed to us being here today. No, but seriously, April's love, her commitment, and her passion for Dave has been apparent since the very first time I saw a picture of the two of them. I know it sounds cliche, but I really do remember the day I saw a picture of April pop up on my Facebook, hugging a man I did not know on a sidewalk like it was yesterday. April was genuinely happy, and the smile on her face revealed how in love she was. I've only ever seen that look one other time for a man. Her life-size Johnny Depp poster from the Pirates of the Caribbean. So April, my wish for you is that you always see Johnny Depp when you look at Dave. And Dave, I'm gonna do it too. Assa, dude. You're looking dapper this evening. I may not know who your celebrity crush is or how you look at her when you were growing up, but I do know the day I knew you felt the same way she did. It was a sunny day in Myrtle Beach. You were about a fifth of Mad Dog in, and we were floating on a pontoon. That's when you confided in me your plans to ask her to marry you, and you were the definition of giddy. You preceded the news with compliments that demonstrated the awe you were of her, but it wasn't the words I found the most comforting. It was the look on your face. Love. You had that look not too long ago at the Luke Bryan concert. You were expressing to me how much you missed her, but I was all over again, filled with happiness for the two of you. So I do want to say thank you to you. Thank you for loving her, but for being a man she can love. My wish for you is that you remain the type of guy who says, "Suh, dude," and that you always talk about her with the same look on your face as you did that day on the pontoon. So if everyone can raise their glass with me in congratulating April and Dave, I, for one, am blessed and excited to be witnessing your happily ever after firsthand. I love you both.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's give it up for Amanda Pocken. Up next, we have the maid of honor, Alexis Birch.
Sorry, everyone, you have one more to listen to. As they have said, thank you for being here to share in April and Dave's special day. For those who don't know me, my name's Alexis. I met April our freshman year of college in our dorm room. When I started writing this speech, I wanted to look at some old photos to stir up memories of April and I. What I realized was that our friendship isn't about one big moment when her and I just decided we were best friends, but a series of little moments over these last 7 years that I know I wouldn't want anyone else by my side besides April. Whether those moments were running around the dorm because we were bored, or the infamous cardboard cutout that Amanda talked about of Johnny Depp that stood in our apartment to greet everyone as they walked in. She's also the reason for my Starbucks addiction, or the memories of having margaritas at mariachis, or learning that on a bad day we both loved to have a cherry Coke and we'd send each other pictures to be like, today was just not a good one. Or the trips to each other's family's house and in the process becoming part of each other's families. April brightens a room when she walks in. She's an infectious laugh, and if you're lucky enough, you'll get a little snort out of her. She has the best dance moves, whether she was on the floor of the jar cheering on the Akron Zips, or just having a dance-off showing what this little white girl could do. I can't pinpoint when April and I became best friends, but I wouldn't have made it through these last 7 years without her. You look gorgeous this evening. Dave is very lucky to have you. Now, going to Dave, this is a slightly embarrassing story. Dave probably had no idea who April and I were for a good amount of time, but we were gossiping about the cute, tall accounting guy for months. Until one day he walked into the business law class and sat right in front of us. I thought April's heart was gonna burst out of her chest. Unfortunately, he didn't really talk to us much then either. But until one day, we were out for Katie's birthday. We were about to head home when we said, let's walk into one more bar. And we walked into the classy establishment of 69 Taps in Akron, if anyone's familiar. And as we go down the stairs, there is none other than the David Minotas sitting at the bottom with a group of friends. These two locked eyes, and you knew there was an instant connection between the two of them. Weeks later, Dave came to me. He obviously needed the best friend's approval. And if you've ever heard this story, Dave will insist I told him, don't date April. But for those who have heard this story, it's a lot more complicated than that. But I've never been happier that Dave didn't listen to me. I've been so lucky to have a front row seat to watching these two fall in love. They are meant to be together. They have fallen in love with each other's quirks. April is the only one who can translate Dave's language. Dave finds April beautiful, even though when she's picking off her nail polish, which is a huge pet peeve. It wasn't always easy for them. I've seen them argue, but every single day they put in the time and effort to show each other their love. Tonight is just the start of your beautiful life together. I wish you two the best of luck in this crazy-filled life. Congratulations.
Ladies and gentlemen, can we please have another huge round of applause for all of those who are speaking tonight. Very touching, very beautiful.